Okay, this is complete racism right here. This is what you're looking at, okay? And as you read through this story, we talked about this on last night's radio show. Big Boss Calvin shared this with me. You know, here's a mother, and because her skin's black, she's been discriminated against. She's expected to pay $30,000 back, blah blah blah, because she wanted better education for her kids. Okay, this is nothing but pure bullshit. Okay, this is racism. This is white people looking at somebody else's skin that's in a position of power. And what are they doing? They're using her skin color to slam her because she wanted a better education for her children, okay? An Ohio mother of two sentenced to 10 days in jail, placed on 3 years probation for sending her kids to school district in which they did not live. Okay, so she sent her kids to a school district which they did not live. Okay, such a crime. Yeah, she wanted an education for her children. You know, it was a crime wanting to educate your children, wasn't it, you fucking sick fucks? Okay, boy, judge, blah, blah, blah. Fuck the judge, because he's a piece of shit, okay? The jury deliberated for 7 hours, and the courtroom was packed as the sentence was handed down. She was convicted of 2 counts of tampering with court records after registering her two girls, as live-in with Williams Boyler father when they actually lived with her. Okay, come on. She registered living with the father rather than her so they could go to a better school. It was such a crime. No, it wasn't a crime. It's called racism. It's called they looked at her skin color. That's right, and they wanted to keep her down. They didn't want the kids to have a decent education. I mean, I'm sorry, but as you read this, it's so obvious that's exactly what it is. Okay? Because even if her kids, I mean, like right here, okay? Say it's costing, okay, right here, let's see, blah, blah. The courts determined that sending their children to the wrong school was worth $30,500 in tuition. No. If they had went to the right school, they still would have spent about the same amount, now wouldn't they? You're damn right they would have. That's a complete lie. That's just a way of fucking slamming her for no reason at all, okay? You know, we talked about this on a radio show last night, and this is what makes me sick about our society. I, by a far cry, have never been racist in my entire life. I see everybody as human beings. I do not recognize skin color. I refuse to recognize skin color because recognizing skin color is wrong, because they're human beings regardless. Everybody is. But the problems I see is people want to look at skin color and they want to judge, okay? Now, Big Boss Calvin, he's not racist. There's people out here that want to say he is because they've heard some comments come out of the man's mouth, you know, and he's not racist. Okay, have you walked in his shoes in his life? Are you a black man or a black woman walking in today's society in their life, experiencing what they've experienced? No, you're not. No, you're not. You know, as being a Caucasian person, I get pissed off myself because, see, what the black community, like Angel Snup Snup, don't see is, unless you've walked in my shoes, wore my skin color around through your life, you wouldn't know. You want to say I have it better. Well, I've always looked at everybody equal. Equal, that's right. I always look at skin color as, well, a human being because I don't recognize skin color, okay? But I can tell you this. I'm doing remodels. I'm up in Bradenton, Florida. I go into a neighborhood where I'm sent for a job, duplex that was bought. I had to go do some work on that duplex. Now I got to show up there at the job site, right? And it's an all-black neighborhood. Don't bother me in the least because I don't care, right? And I'm doing my job when these colored folk are standing across the street. They're looking straight at me, and they keep pointing at me and blah, blah, talking. And pretty soon the one yells, That cracker has a lot of God doing in our hood. That's right. That's right. That cracker has a lot of God doing in his hood. His hood, huh? Okay. You know, I had black folk standing on both sides of the street on Fifth Street East. They'd stand there all day long, and they'd sell their crack cocaine. And they would be on both sides of the road, and if the cops come, somebody had a stash somewhere, blah, blah, blah. Sheriff's Department was on up the road from there, and everybody knew that's what they were doing, was selling their crack. And now and again, they would be, well, carjacking people. And that's no lie, because they attempted to carjack me once. Okay, that's right. They'll get their friend, it's 2-lane street, they'll get their friend to pull out the street with the car, and they'll both climb on both sides, and the car will just stop in the middle of the street, and they'll pretend they're talking. They'll have their other group across the stop at the side of the street as you come by, yelling, hey, and waving at you and everything to get your attention so you look their way. As you're coming to a stop, because you have no choice but to come to a stop because they're blocking your lane. And as you look their way because they're yelling, hey, the person on the passenger side of the car leaning in like he's talking to him will run to your vehicle and jump in with intentions in carjacking you. And, of course, they tried this with me. He hit my running board, got on my running board, got my door open as I slung around the fucking vehicle, and he flew off and landed on his ass. The door flung shut. I got about 1.5 blocks, 2 blocks away. I lost my head because I was pissed, and I turned around and went back. I was going to turn the road into blacktop as I was going to run their ass over, okay? According, needless to say, when I got away, they all split because they figured the cops was coming and they wasn't going to be around to be found, okay? But that's not the point. The point is do I blame what happened to me when I was in the hood and I got caught a cracker because I was in the wrong hood when I'm sent there to do a job, okay? Do I blame that on the entire black population? No, I don't. Why? Because it wasn't all the blacks in the whole world that done this to me, now was it? No. It wasn't Angel Snup that did this, or Big Boss Calvin that done this to me, now was it? No, it wasn't. Okay? Was it Angel Snup or Big Boss Calvin that tried to carjack me? No, it wasn't. See, this is the problem I foresee. I don't give a shit how many years ago slavery happened. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. You didn't live through it. You are walking in a world where people are racist and you get shit on, and I totally understand Big Boss Calvin. I totally know what he's talking about. I really do. I understand him. He's not being racist. He's speaking from his own life experiences and what's happened to him and what he has seen, what he has felt, what's happened to him, how he's being treated. Okay? And that's why I respect Big Boss Calvin, and that's why I'll always stand by him. The problem that I have is, like with Angel Snup would be, no Caucasian people allowed to my radio show or on my page. And he'll make this plain and clear as he makes that the title. He tells people this and he blames his problems up on all the Caucasian people. Okay? So because some colored folk tried to carjack me that I've never seen in my life or called me a cracker, I have a lot of God doing in their hood staring me down getting ready to want to kill my ass, okay? So I'm going to say all black people not allowed. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Why? Because it's not all black people. We have good and bad in every single race. And when you grow up and you get that through your head, you'll realize that. The problem with Angel Snup, okay, is the fact that the man won't use his head when it comes to this. Calvin does. I understand Calvin's anger. When Calvin speaks out about his skin color, he's pissed. He's been walked on and stepped on, and I respect that. I respect that. What should be happening is you need to recognize names and faces. Not entire fucking cultures. Not entire fucking cultures, because it's not the entire culture doing it. Recognize the names and the faces. It's no different than years ago in slavery. Recognize the names and faces. If you had to make a fucking list, there's 2,000 people, then you make a list of 2,000 people. You understand? Because it's not the entire population. If you have 5 million white folk and 2,000 of them white folks was behind fucking slavery, was behind it, out of 5 million, or 5,000, or even 100,000 out of 5 million, and you made a list of names and faces of the people doing it, and you go after the ones doing it. You don't go after the entire damn culture, because it's not the entire culture, because I don't control somebody else no more than Calvin controls somebody else. Calvin can't control some other guy because he's black down the road, or some other woman because they're black down the road decides to do something that's wrong, and he knows is wrong. Calvin can't control that. No more than I can control that in my race. The problem with race is you're willing to accept it as race. I don't accept race as race. Why? Because black is black, white is white, purple is purple, yellow is yellow. If you're a human being, you're a human being, and your skin color has nothing to do with nothing. You're a freaking human being. You have emotions, feelings, wants, and needs just like anybody else. And using somebody's skin color as a weapon, using somebody's skin color to blame a culture for something, it's just right up wrong. You're keeping the division going. You're helping, well, you're helping for the reason World War III will happen. That's right. You're allowing history to repeat itself because you haven't grown up enough to realize that, to stand together.
Side, and people don't like it, especially for you Caucasian and denial motherfuckers. She had white fucking privilege. Female white fucking privilege. That's what saved her. Yes. Okay? Now, if you want to speculate if the person, well, I know if she was black, I know she would be doing some time longer than that.
Okay, now do you understand why Calvin's pissed? And I'll guarantee you can find thousands more of examples like that, double standards. You know, the double standards between the genders that plays into all races right now, here in America, over in the United Kingdom, over in Germany, over in Russia. You know, the double standards amongst the sexes, the genders. And here's the double standards that plays into the races, the skin colors. Why do we have these double standards? Well, because a bunch of bankers, a bunch of criminals at the top that we all allow to run us have made these double standards to keep us fighting one another, so that we will never stand up as one, as a unit together, to put a stop to them. Because their worst nightmare, their worst scare is the fact that if people stood together, they couldn't get by with what they're doing. Why? Because they recognize that through people standing together, they wouldn't get by with it, because the bankers and your governments get their power from us, the people, globally. And if us, the people, globally stood together as one unit against them, they would have no military, because the military is created from us, the people. That's right. And if we stood together, they would have no power at all. They're powerless. The reason they have the power is because we listen. And the reason they keep their power is because we're dumb. We've allowed them to divide us so that they could get their own greedy, selfish wants. And they don't give a shit about you, me, Big Boss Calvin, or any of this. They don't give a shit about my skin color or your skin color. They're after their own selfish wants. And if people don't understand this, you need to wake up. Big Boss Calvin is not racist. I understand the man completely. I really do. And I have a lot of respect for him. Yeah, he said some things that sounds like because he's pissed. But I'll tell you what, anybody that's pissed will say things they don't really mean. And it may have come out to sound racist, but when you looked at what I just showed you, what he shared with you, I can guarantee there's thousands of more stories just like it. That was racist. That's right. Because she was a black female, and she wanted a better education for her children. That is racist. That's double standard. So when Calvin said that if Casey Anthony had been black, verdict wouldn't have been the same, I agree with him. It's the double standards, people. Get your heads out of your ass. Start standing together and stop looking at skin color and start recognizing other people as human beings. Because that's what we are. We're all human beings. I have a lot of respect for Big Boss Calvin, and I still stand by him. And that's the way it stands. You understand? Because Big Boss Calvin is not racist. He's correct about what he's talking about. And I stand by him. The next video, you have a good one.